On Friday and Saturday evenings, Winnipeg's Renaissance Voices presents its 20th celebration of the Advent at Young United Church. In honor of the occasion, the ensemble has chosen a program of favorite moments from the past 20 years of singing. They've even invited alumni of the ensemble to join them for a few. Founded in 1995 with the express purpose of performing music of the Renaissance, this chamber choir has broadened its horizons all the way into the 21st century. This afternoon, here in the Diamond Lane, I'm joined by Renaissance Voices director Janet Brenneman and former artistic director and founder Derek Morphy. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad that you could join us today. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Derek, you are a ballast in the choral community in Manitoba.
I've never been called a ballast before. I think it's a compliment.
Well, it is. And as the amazing bass that you are as well, I know firsthand that you are also, a ballast musically. But tell us about your choral adventures. You started at St. John's College, Cambridge. Is that right?
Right, yes, back in the early 60s. Well, actually, 1959. And then came to Canada in 1967, taught choral music and history in various schools.
That's excellent.
And in the mid-90s, I thought, I'd like to found a choir that sings music from the period of music that I love the most. And not very imaginatively called it Renaissance Voices.
That's amazing. But you do a lot of work with youth choirs in Manitoba, especially.
I have done.
You have done. Did you conduct the National Youth Choir as well?
I was the assistant conductor for the first National Youth Choir in 64.
Amazing.
1984.
That's incredible. And you also taught in high schools, both in Brandon and in Winnipeg.
True.
Yeah.
Brandon Nealon High School and Glenlone Collegiate, where I started the choral program, which then became very successful under Marilyn Redicott, and is now very successful also. And then Calvin High School for 13 years.
Which is also an incredibly successful choral program still.
It's had a long history, that's for sure.
It's incredible. And now, Janet, you're also not just a choral junkie like we all are, but you're also the dean of the School of Music at Canadian Mennonite University. How do you find time? You're conducting also how many ensembles at CMU?
Well, I have two choirs at CMU Singers, which is a mixed ensemble, and then I have a 60-voice women's chorus as well, so CMU Women's Chorus. And then in the community, I co-direct the Mennonite Festival Chorus, which is a symphonic chorus for the WSO, and Renaissance Voices. I love that kind of community work that those two ensembles bring to my daily life.
Yeah. Well, Derek, you spoke about the founding of Renaissance Voices, of it being the reason you started it was because you wanted to really illuminate the music that you loved most. So how did it begin?
Well, it began with a few singers whom I knew and I invited to join us, and we were a fairly small ensemble initially, and then it gradually grew. And there was also a number of people wanted to sing outside that particular genre and time. And that works very well because there's a very strong connection between the 16th and 17th centuries and the 20th century.
Absolutely.
So we explored that in repertoire through the years.
Excellent. Well, hey, before we talk about this weekend's event, why don't we hear another moment? And Jonathan Dove, is going to be programmed as well on these 20 songs for these 20 years of Renaissance Voices. What are we going to hear right now?
Well, this is called The Three Kings. He has really become a very well-known and popular choral composer. And he writes very, very imaginatively. It's called The Three Kings, and it's their arrival, obviously, at the stable and what they brought with them.
And what are Jonathan Dove's dates?
Well, he's still around and doing lots of work. I would think you have a...
Yeah, he was born in 1959.
Wow, okay.
He's fairly young.
So from the Renaissance to the 21st century, as we do. That's amazing. Okay, Jonathan Dove's The Three Kings from Renaissance Voices. Jonathan Dove's The Three Kings, performed here by Winnipeg's Renaissance Voices. And Here with me in the Diamond Lane this afternoon are the ensembles Janet Brenneman and Derek Morphy. Let's talk a little bit more about Renaissance Voices. And Derek, you are the founder, former artistic director, and Janet, you are the current director and conductor. Tell us how the transition happened.
Well, okay, I'll go ahead first, and then because Janet can, anyway. Well, when in everybody's life and career, you get to a point when you say, it's time to move on. Mm-hmm. Maybe you've made the musical statements you want to make with the ensemble you've been with. And so I decided to resign and hand over the reins. And I'm absolutely delighted that Janet accepted, because I knew her work from CMU.
Okay.
And I was so glad that she was interested in doing it. And it's proved to be wonderful in that, she's moved into her own territory. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what should happen with a choir. Mm-hmm. Now she's going to say something.
Well, I was absolutely delighted to have the opportunity to apply for the position, actually, with Renaissance Voices. I went to their concert in 2011, which was Derek's last concert, and I was completely enamored with the spirit in the room, with the people themselves, with the sounds, with the music. I just thought it was quite lovely. And to be honest, I wasn't necessarily looking for another choir at that time. I was still conducting with Pemina Trails Voices. I had a young men's chorus there,
right.
PTV Men, a high school boys choir, and I was very, very busy with my work at CMU as well, and Mennonite Festival Chorus. But I just thought, you know what, this is where my heart also lives, in community music making. I'm from Ontario, and small town Ontario, and I used to conduct there in my 20s. I conducted a chorus called the Woodstock Fanshawe Singers, and really just a lovely amateur community chorus that I feel I probably left too soon, and I only left because we were moving to Winnipeg. But it's really, there's something quite special about the community that is connected with choral singing, and particularly when people come to rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal just because they want to be there. These are very busy people, and they just love to sing and love to be together. And consequently, I have formed some wonderful friendships in the choir since joining them in 2012, and I am forever indebted to Derek for the fine work that he did for those first 16 years. And it's just, it's delightful that he still sings in the choir, along with his wife Martha, and his daughter Selena sings in the choir as well. And there are other family relationships that are there, and it's just absolutely a wonderful experience for me.
Well, speaking of that kind of unbreakable community that choral singing kind of fosters, that it weaves, you've invited some of your alumni to join you for some of the selections this weekend. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we thought it would be really important, as we celebrate 20 years of making music together, that alumni would be invited to come back and join us. And then we thought, well, how appropriate if we would have Derek Morphy conduct the alumni. So Derek will be conducting the alumni in 3 pieces, a lovely Shepherd's Carol by Bob Chilcott, and the O Magnum Mysterium by Victoria, which I heard you play earlier today.
Yeah, we played a little Victoria. We played the Miserere
Victoria earlier today, yes. And then the 3 Kings that we just heard.
Beautiful. Well, so looking forward to it. How did the program come together? So we talked about these 20 years, 20 songs for 20 years. The Viginti Cantica, right?
Yes.
20 songs.
Yes,
is that
it
right?
is. Yes.
Okay, so, and there are 20 songs on your program.
There are 20 songs on our program.
Amazing.
And, yes, well, and that actually, that was a lot of fun. It wasn't easy, though, I would say. Derek and I started talking about this. We did this program together. So the last few years, I've done the programs on my own since taking over the reins, as Derek said. But we did this particular program together, and I asked Derek for a list of his 20 favorites, or what he thought might have been favorites from over the years. And we have, I think, every year represented. So we have one from each year as well.
Amazing. And is there one from Jesse Krause on the program? See, this is, okay, Jesse Krause, we did a little news story about him not too long ago about his Geräuschbeast project.
Yes.
The boy builds instruments, and he's quite an anomaly. And he sings in the ensemble, is that correct?
Yes, he does.
And he also composes stuff for you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Jesse Krause is I have to say this because he's a graduate of Canadian Mennonite University.
Excellent.
And he was a student in my music theory classes as well.
Wonderful.
Years ago.
Good job.
And, well, I don't think I can take any credit for his composing. But he is quite... he's a wonderful, wonderful young man and a brilliant musician. As you know, he conducts the Riel Gentlemen's Choir.
Right.
And as you said, builds instruments. He's also a fine guitarist, a great music educator. He's an artist and an art educator as well.
Wow.
And a composer. And so I asked him in the summer, I said, Jesse, have you got something that we might be able to program on this particular concert? Because this is year 20. We need a 20th song. We need a 20th piece.
Beautiful.
And so he said, well, Janet, I've just been writing an O Magnum Mysterium. And so, the text is O wondrous mystery that animals should see the newborn Lord lying in a manger.
And it is one of 3 O Magnum Mysteriums that are appearing on the program as well.
That's a very popular text at this time
course.
of year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jesse is so imaginative. He's written the text of the O Magnum for a 3-voice chorale that sings throughout. And then around that chorale, he has written these lovely, imaginative little melodic motives that represent the various animals as they come to the manger.
Beautiful.
It is absolutely stunning. It's Jesse's 30th birthday today, so happy birthday, Jesse.
Oh, wonderful.
And we are delighted that we can do this music, and he said it's a pretty neat birthday gift for him.
Oh, that is exceptional. So just to kind of round it up, what sort of experience can your audiences expect this weekend in terms of atmosphere, in terms of sounds?
Well, this is a concert that we've been doing for a number of years, and maybe Derek wants to speak to the history behind that. But we like to give the audience something to experience in addition to the wonderful music that they're going to hear. So the audience is seated at Café-style tables, round tables with some tablecloths and lovely candlelight. And we serve some mulled wine and hot apple cider.
Yeah, we came up with this format several years ago, probably at least 10, and it's proved to be just wonderful. It's in Young United Church, the new, rebuilt Young United Church.
222 Furby.
Yes, indeed. And so it's a relatively intimate space, but it's got a lot of height, so the sound is right for this repertoire. And it's amazing how quiet it is when we're singing in there. Somehow that space generates the kind of attention that one looks for as a conductor and a singer. And it's rapt attention. There's a wonderful link between the singers and the audience because they're so close. Sometimes they're sitting right by you almost, and you can sort of wave at them occasionally when the spirit moves you. Yes, I know. But so it's a lovely space, and we've loved that format with the mulled wine and the cider, and that seems to be very popular.
What a perfect, hospitable way to listen to this lovely and haunting and beautiful music. Friday and Saturday, December 11th and 12th at Young United Church. Please come join Renaissance Voices for their 20th anniversary Advent celebration. Viginti Cantica, 20 songs for 20 years. Tickets are $25 or $15 for students, are available at McNally Robinson Booksellers from any of the choir members, if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone, or at the door. It promises to be an evening to satisfy both the spirit and the senses. Music begins at 8 p.m., doors open, and holiday beverage service begins at 7:30. Thank you both so much for joining us. Janet Brenneman, director-conductor, and Derek Morphy, founder and former artistic director. It has been such a pleasure to have you both in the studio. Best wishes for this weekend. Toi, 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 toi.
Thank you
very
so
much.
We will
Thank you.
usher you out on a little Huron carol. This Alan Bevan,
Yes.
is that correct? An Alan Bevan
Thunder
arrangement.
Bay.
I'm sorry?
He's from Thunder Bay.
He's from Thunder Bay. Amazing. And bringing the Canadian content, the 21st century Canadian content into Winnipeg's ears. Perfect. Renaissance Voices, here conducted by Derek Morphy, but this weekend conducted by both Derek Morphy and Janet Brenneman.